Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to be filming a homeschool chit chat while I'm doing laundry. So here we go. I'm just going to jump right in because my videos tend to be so long. We just completed our 5th week of school. Now, I have filmed many videos. I've refilmed them so many times of a homeschool update, but I'm going to nix those. They are way too long and way too rambly. Let's see what I can do when I have a timer set for me. So one of the things I was really trying to do this year with our education was to focus on a more Charlotte Mason atmosphere. And how that would look like, or how I envisioned that would look like, is reading quality literature where the child could see their learning in a way that they could relate to. I can teach mathematics, 1 + 1 is 2, but until you see one object and one object as being 2, you don't have a relation with that that material, that mindset of 1 + 1 is 2. And you're kind of doing that when in all aspects of learning. And it could be with the science and history and grammar and all this kind of things. And so giving them quality books, not just so much to pass a test, but to develop a relation. I keep using that word, and I'm probably using it all in the wrong context, but to just kind of using literature to understand how things work. The more I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the books that I read in my own life. A college textbook that I went through didn't make sense until they had the illustrations that they showed. And then I would read other literature books or other quality books. It wouldn't have to necessarily be like fiction books. And they would have not necessarily a word for word, but that concept put into it. And all this information that I had was suddenly beginning to make sense. I could see how it was working in the lives of other people. And so that's kind of... I watched a British show last night, so I'm kind of talking like this, and it's not really intentional, but that's what I do. If I was listening to a southern movie or something like that, I'll start picking up southern accents. Ugh! Anyway, you'll have to bear with me. I'm probably going to pick up some kind of English thing now and then. So our first week of school, our first month of school, I was really kind of focusing on getting routines down. And I don't mean like you get up at this time and you do this time and you do this time. I meant we would get up and transition into school, transition into our afternoon, transition into our evening, and having a consistent homeschool routine. Where's this little one? Okay, starting to buy. And that was the whole goal, the whole mindset to begin with. Being consistent, being well planned out so that these ideas would work, and then kind of like creating action that thought went off. So anyway, moving on. Science and history seem to be the things that stick the most with us, and I think part of that is me. Oh, and Shakespeare. That is part of it is me because I am sitting there doing that with them. I don't give a grammar lesson that everybody learns. I don't give a math lesson that everybody learns. But the things that are sticking with not just me, but with my children are the family studies. And so you kind of go and you say, okay, every Thursday I say, okay, what are you retaining from what we've learned this week? Not a single time has my daughter jumped in and said, I learned how to put fractions into whole number and then a decimal number. My daughter hasn't done that once. The young man that I am now tutoring, hasn't once said, I understand now a compound verb and a compound sentence. He hasn't said that. My sister hasn't said, I'm trying to think of something else that we've done that, she hasn't said, well, okay, I remember the new spelling words that we've learned. They haven't done that once. They've jumped in with science, history, Bible, Shakespeare, art, and the individual reading that they've had to do. Every time I ask them, every single time, that's what they remember. But I keep holding this. Where is his? He doesn't have a file. Okay. And those are the studies that we have done as a family. I did talk about the curriculum that we've chosen as a family, and you can see that linked above. I talked about individual curriculum that they have, and I will also try to link that above, also down below. So you can check those out if you're interested. And then, where was I going with that? Oh, so science has been going really well, and what I have been loving about our science and history is kind of going from Leif Erikson to Christopher Columbus to kind of a little bit of the Spanish conquest. I'm not getting too much into that. I started getting too much into that and kind of reined myself back. But the Spanish conquest did cover some United States areas. So I did kind of want to briefly get into that. DeSoto with Florida and Mississippi. Or no, what? I think DeSoto was Mississippi and Hernandez was Florida. We were reading a DeSoto book, so the actual founder of the Florida, I don't remember. Anyway, so we kind of briefly did that. We did some artwork with that. I've been trying to bring that a little bit more into it this year, and everybody's loving that so far. I'm losing. Okay, what size? Okay, that's... No, this one is yours. That's why I keep thinking. Okay. Alright. So we briefly kind of did that, and then So we just finished this week up with Native Americans and some of the Spanish conquests. Next week I would like to start with the Pilgrims. Where did I put the Jiu-Jitsu piece? Oh. So we'll start with that. And kind of move forward. But so far, the history and the science have worked together. It was not intentional, but it has worked out really great, and I'm so excited for that because then we keep going back to concepts that we've learned and kind of can address them a little bit more. And I think that's helping with sticking to that. I have to say, I think this last week we started really kind of getting lax and not putting our full attention into our lessons, and I kind of want to figure that out next week, but I really feel like it was an off week for a lot of them. We were having a lot of issues, not just with paying attention in school, but almost like over hyperness and just a lot of feelings hurt and things said that shouldn't have been said. And so I think it was just one of those off weeks, and I'm really hoping that next week, which will be beginning our 6th week, that we will go okay with that. All right. Okay. And so as we begin our 6th week, I'm kind of expecting to be kind of a little bit worn out at the end, just because it really does seem like the first 6 weeks go a lot smoother than the next 6 weeks. So like from week 7 to 12, those seem to be a little bit rough, and you start questioning everything. And then once you figure out the bumps and the kicks, then you can kind of get back into your rhythm again. And so I'm kind of expecting that. Because of that, I'm trying to think of like more fun projects we can do to kind of keep things a little bit lighter, but still in a learning atmosphere. There you are. Okay, I did want to say that some of the things, I know I'm not looking at the camera, but there we go. If I break contact, I'm going to have to do this all over again. Some of the things that I was really thinking about the other day was goals that I had. Last year, I had a goal for reading out loud more to my children, and I did really well with that goal. This year, I think it's to do more art with them, but not only that. It's actually to be outside with them more. And I was doing so well with that before the summer hit. And then the summer hit, and instead of making it a priority to get out early with them, it just kind of got left behind, so to speak, and didn't happen. And now the fall weather is coming again, and it's just a golden opportunity to get back outside and explore more with the children. But so with the Charlotte Mason and quality literature and narration, dictation, copy work, I'm not gonna go. I think that's what I did wrong in the videos that I recorded that you will never see, is that I tried to go into each piece of curriculum that I was using and telling you what's going on with that. But I'm just keeping it short and sweet. If you have anything that you would like to request, go ahead and leave it down below. But for the most part, everything just seems to be going smoothly. The only thing that we're kind of hiccuping over, whoops, that doesn't go with that, is our composer study. I think Confessions of a Homeschooler would work better for us if we almost had like a beginner guide to some of the types of music, like what is the difference between a concerto and a symphony, and so on and so forth. I think that might have helped us more, or maybe we're getting to that. I'm not quite sure. But we've only done 1 day out of 5 weeks of composer studies. And this poor library, I have had to renew. Yes, you can find these at Costco, and they fold small, and then they can fit in my little laundry room, and I love it. The library, I've had to renew this book that the Confessions of a Homeschooler uses for her curriculum. I renewed it twice now, so this is like my last time I can do it. So if I don't kind of put a priority on this, I'm going to kind of lose out on it. Oh my word. I'll have to figure out how to do that again. Woo! Okay. We'll deal with that later. Okay. Laundry's folded. Go figures, right? But I have to say, one of the things that I am doing is I knew we were going to do Bach. And so Johann Sebastian Bach is playing, like when we're doing Poetry Tea Time, which we've been able to do every Wednesday now. Squirrel. So we've been listening to Bach during Poetry Tea Time. We have been... The only issue that I have with that is we don't really learn what piece is being played, whereas with Confessions of a Homeschooler, you're supposed to write out the piece you're listening to. And I think that is kind of important. I really feel like it's something that we've missed in society. We hear these pieces, we hear these movements, but until you know what is being played, you don't even know sometimes the composer. If I turn on classical music on YouTube, the pieces aren't being announced as much, and unless you can read it. And so if you're listening to a loop, you don't really get it, if that makes sense. And I think that's unfortunate. I think it's really that's a crucial part of listening to music. So that would probably be my big hiccup with that. Tomorrow night, which is Saturday, we will be going and seeing Macbeth we finished up reading basically the outline is what I'm calling it. It's a Usborne book that, oh, here it is. Basically, we did this one, which I'm calling the outline, and then we went into a more deeper one, so you got the story, and then we're actually going to go hear it in the Shakespearean language tomorrow night, which I really think, you know, given the outline of what's going on, and then going into deeper, so you've got more of the story in an English language, and then going and hearing it in the Shakespearean language is really going to help understand some of the words that we don't understand. So really looking forward to that. I am going to have to end this here. Hopefully this video, you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything that you would like me to talk about when I do these things. That kind of helps give me a guideline. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all my new viewers and faithful subscribers. So until next time, have a great weekend, have a great day, whenever you're watching this. And I'll see you next time. Bye.